Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's switch gears from election matters to security matters. So, yesterday, the Senate asked President Muhammadu Buhari to declare bandits terrorists. Like the Senate, the House of Representatives today is asking the president also to proscribe bandits and their sponsors as terrorists. The matter was raised by the chairman of the House Committee on Defense, Honorable Babajimi Benson, who stated that officially that is bringing this to the notice of the House that the activities of bandits and their sponsors within the purview of the Terrorism Prevention Act, and any persons associated with such groups can then be legally prosecuted and sentenced to penalties specified in the Act. Tonight, I have joining me two members of the National Assembly from both chambers. I have the member, House Committee on Defense, Honorable Abubakar Ahmed. Thank you so much, Honorable, for joining us.
Thank you.
Senator Estefanos Giang is the Deputy Chair of the Senate Committee on Defense. We're speaking to the right people tonight. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So let me begin, because you joined your colleagues in the Senate to say, declare these bandits, these criminals, declare them terrorists. Why do you think the president should do so?
Well, the issue is not far-fetched. We have been trying to, have been searching for a silver bullet, single silver bullet that can bring this issue of insurgency to nerve. And unfortunately, it is nowhere to be found. So we felt if other uprisers in the form of insurgency, whatever, freedom agitators could be proscribed, could be leveled, and by the instrumentality of authority or court provisions, then why not this bandit who have been maiming, killing, and then causing unrest? So when the upper chamber, the red chamber, came up with this idea, we at the committee level felt the only thing is that when we come to sit-in, we skip a day because of the demands of our colleague. Otherwise, I could have said we could have even made this asked for this proclamation much earlier. But be it as it may, they did it, and then we thought, okay, let us also throw our weight so that this will give a leverage. It will help the security personnel to actually prosecute this war precisely.
Senator, you have an oversight role on the defense, and one would think that the role of the National Assembly is to make laws as the case deemed fit. You can make new laws, you can amend the old ones. So one would think, instead of asking the president to do so, is there no other thing that you can do to ensure that this prescription happens from the point of view of the National Assembly?
Thank you for having me on this program. Let me say that I want to appreciate our colleagues in the House of Representatives for the concurrence on the resolution to calling on the president to declare bandits terrorists. This has been long overdue due to the fact that if you look at the atrocities, the cataclysmic effect of their very devastating and destructive criminality upon the nation, it is the right thing that the National Assembly, of course the Senate yesterday, and of course the House of Representatives have come up so that we can get the president to step up and come up with this declaration so that it will give the military and our law enforcement agencies the leverage to effectively combat this criminality and this terrorism that it is. Now, you talked about the issue of why not go by way of law instead of a true resolution. We already have an existing law on terrorism. This resolution is just to get these bandits to be branded and to be rightly classified, having been properly profiled by the security agencies, the intelligence agencies. Have already a lot of profiling has been done that has brought up this to this point, where now a resolution of the National Assembly for the president to make that declaration so that the existing law, the Terrorism Prevention Act, can be fully enforced by the military and law enforcement agencies in the fight against terrorism in the country.
So, furthermore, to elucidate on that, just as a rider,
okay,
you see, there are processes to, when you look at the Provision Act, the way it is, even if they were captured, they have to be subjected to a competent court of competent jurisdiction. All this process delayed. They can now hire a very good lawyers that can protract, and then the issue of mutual punishment might be protracted. So in order to contract, to bring it to what do you call it, to hasten the prosecution. So by that proclamation through by Mr. President, I think it's a quicker antidote to this scenario.
So are you saying, because what I'm not trying to get is that you said there are provisions already in the law under the Terrorism Act,
yes.
But in this sense, because the urgency of now demands that these guys needs to be branded and tagged as terrorists.
So
does the resolution of the National Assembly will be passed to the president, or how do you guys go about it after you have passed the resolution on both chambers?
It's communicated.
It's communicated.
There are committees on legislative compliance, and every resolution of either of the chambers is communicated to executive arm of government for consideration and compliance. Though resolutions do not have the effect of law, but coming from the two chambers, it has that moral force that the people, we are representing the people. We are here for the Nigerian people. So this resolution is a reflection of the desire, the wish, and of Nigerians, knowing what these bandits are doing across the country. If you look at the level of atrocity, the level of massive destruction of lives and property, the one that even surpasses that of Boko Haram. In fact, they've become the envy of Boko Haram. So you have a situation where we in the National Assembly, we have a responsibility, because the primary responsibility of government is to secure the lives of citizens. And the National Assembly, we are here to ensure that that primary responsibility is what government gives primacy to. And to that extent, this resolution is to tell Mr. President that this is what Nigerians are passing through, and this is part of the solution. We are out for a solution. What can we do to bring this banditry to an end? Let us tag them. Let them be branded. Let them be classified as terrorists, given the fact that their activities and their atrocities and the level of the evil they are doing and criminality that they are doing is no other than you can't call it any other thing other than terrorism. Because
I know by the way of your oversight roles in the National Assembly, you have information. You are privy to speaking to the commanders and knowing what is on their minds. Are you getting this kind of information and feelers from them that this is what they want also?
Yep.
Yeah. What is going on is, by reason of our interaction at committee level with the defense chiefs, I want you to understand that there is the political will. There is a level to which they can prosecute. Like one of them, one of the generals, though retired, was here yesterday talking about the fact that there is a way, when it comes to operations, that there is a political dimension to it, that you can only go to the extent that the political decision and the political will allow you. So we are probing and prompting the president to demonstrate the political will and make this declaration, so that the leverage that is required by the security agencies in combating this terrorism, banditry that I prefer to call terrorism, will take a more forceful face and form. And that is what they want, and that is what we have done.
It's interesting. Honorable, are the generals getting frustrated about a few things that you can tell us tonight?
Well, not frustrated as such, but limited by circumstances.
And what are these circumstances?
Well, sometimes it is not good to come on the air and start telling out the shortcomings or otherwise of the security. But be it as it may, assuming without considering that yes, there are, and we have interacted with them. Sometimes back before we went on recess, we conducted this security summit in the House of Representatives. Outcome of all our resolutions were taken to the presidency and counted. Some of these changes that were witnessed were as a result of this security summit. And part of it, even those two bills that we opened this session with, you know, the explosive, the smaller arms bill that came from the executive, as a result of all this our interaction. But let me tell you, the generals are ready to prosecute the war. That, in fact, what is even happening is that they are now looking internally. I appeared sometimes here, though, on a different platform, Sunrise Daily, with Chamberlain, and we discussed and said there are some Judas, even in the armed forces prosecuting the law. And we have been proved beyond reasonable doubt. So they have their own way of checking. Recently, there has been a kind of this unit, which a commandant of a certain unit paraded some of his unit, and in that command, he found about 2 or 3 people who were exchanging intelligence with the bandit, and they were apprehended. So much is doing that we don't need to come on air and start telling. But let me tell you that there are some limitations. So this executive order by Mr. President, if accepted and proclaimed, it will remove so many much impediments.
So I was asking the initial question about the resolutions and the power of the National Assembly. This is not the first time you're passing resolutions, and those resolutions have come, pardon my language, to nothing. It has not materialized. So what do you do in the event of this situation? You've passed this resolution. It's an important matter. What do you do?
We are an arm of government. And as an arm of government, we have a responsibility. And part of our responsibility is to raise the issues. Apart from lawmaking, oversight, and representation, we through on the platform of representation, we raise issues that are of critical national importance. And this is one such issue. And as long as we are in this country and issues will crop up that affect the people, Nigerians on a daily basis, we would continue to raise those issues. We will continue to clamor for the intervention of the executive arm of government. We would continue to probe the executive arm of government. It is left for the executive arm of government to do what Nigerians want them to do through the people's representatives, yes, the Senate and the House of Representatives. We also have our powers. We have our powers where we can invoke certain powers when it comes to certain obvious issues that has to do with the survival of the nation. And where we find that the executive is not forthcoming, we have those powers to invoke. And I'm telling you that since it is a situation that has to do with the safety of Nigerians, because every other right accrues only to the living. That is why the Constitution says that the safety of citizens, their lives and property, is the primary responsibility of government. And when it has to do with that issue, we would continue to talk. We would not keep quiet until the executive does the right thing.
I can imagine you're from Plateau State.
Yes.
And your state recently was held by this kind of crisis. And the question is the way forward. And you are a member of the Defense Committee. So let's talk about the way forward, the solutions to this problem. Now you have raised one of the issues that the president should declare these guys terrorists. Beyond that, what are the solutions that we need to be? First and foremost, let me begin with you.
Let me thank you for bringing the issue of Plateau State. When it comes to Plateau State and what this resolution came up to, I want to appreciate the Senate and the House of Representatives, because right from the House of Representatives, before transiting to the Senate, I've been calling for the National Assembly to make this resolution as a formal resolution of the National Assembly, which it has come to. This issue of banditry is not limited to my state. Now it is, they are running the Northwest over. Almost all states in the Northwest are being run over by bandits. So we now have a unanimity, a concurrence, and a convergence of resolve that it is no longer only Plateau State, but virtually the whole of the North. So now there is a convergence of resolve that we have to tackle this thing frontally. It is no longer an issue of sentiment. It's an issue that every state is battling with. And I thank God that now every other person in this Nigeria now knows the pains that we've been passing through in Plateau State, and now know the reality is for us to brand these bandits, these people that are ransacking communities, sacking and taking over communities in Zamfara, in Plateau State, in Katsina, all over the place as terrorists. And sir, we in the National Assembly, indeed, we would want our security agencies to be further empowered. You know, when it comes to the security, there is the issue of the big five. There is the manpower, there is the training, there is the equipment, there is funding, and of course there is the issue of motivation and welfare of the men. We in the National Assembly, we have, as a committee, and indeed the National Assembly, we have done a lot to ensure that, one, we've made resolutions on the military to get more men by way of recruitment, and the training, the equipment that has been taken through by way of appropriation. The supplementary budget that we just passed took care of the issue of funding, and of course the issue of motivation and welfare, so that they can be better equipped to deliver on the mandate of the fight against terrorism and against all these people that are terrorizing our citizens and destroying our communities.
Honorable, your state also has had its share in this crisis. What is the solution from your point of view?
Just to add my weight behind what he said, like he said, during the last assembly, we were together in the House of Representatives, and he now metamorphosed into the senator. Yes. So, like he said, this has been the clarion call. But I was so astonished that must we have to allow it to bedevil so many states before we swing into action?
What kind of action do we need to swing into? Is there something that we are supposed to do?
By taking it decisively. That is something we are supposed to do. Like, okay, he mentioned about 5 scenarios that we need to. We have acquired the Tucano. We have never heard that since the arrival of the Super Tucano, have they ever been deployed?
Have they?
What is happening?
You are in the defense committee.
That is what
you should be able to tell us.
That is the question we are asking them. They are yet. You ask them, the issue of manpower, capacity, and training is there. And again, we now discover that with this small insight, there has to be an internal cleansing, which up earlier, if it is being done, it was not being done with the vigor that has been given today and tomorrow. So they are fishing out the moles. They are plucking all the holes for sharing of intelligence so that they can be neat and made squarely. So they are doing that. And I can talk to you, our oversight function with the engagement we had with some of the defense chief last week, we came to know that, yes, now we have started prosecuting the war.
Do you see any positive movement in all of this? Are you seeing any result?
Presently, we're in a difficult situation. We're in a bad situation. And that is why we are saying that we are not satisfied with this. As long as Nigerians are not satisfied, as long as Nigerians are still being killed, as long as communities are still being attacked and displaced, as long as we are facing our schools are being, whole schools, students are being kidnapped, as long as this state of insecurity is the situation, I cannot be said to be satisfied. I cannot tell you
I mean, things were bad. I think it's getting better. In terms of, I think it's getting better.
If things were getting better, we will not be telling you that these people, there is the determination.
Things that things are getting better.
No, the bandits are getting more and more emboldened. That is why we are coming up with this resolution.
Do you share the same view?
No. I differ here. The reason is that when we started with this issue, the Boko Haram are there, the bandits are also clamoring there, but at least the Boko Haram have been disseminated. Most of the areas under their control that they raised their flags have now been returned into Nigerian territory. Ask the people from Borno, Yobe, you could say some of them were even able to farm. So at least, at all, 9 bad pass. So we have come somewhere. But yet...
the minimalist, at least, you say we have gotten the minimum. That's from your point of view.
That's the point, yes.
We need to leave it at that. But because I'm speaking to a PDP leader tonight, just in 30 seconds, let me get your view. Your party has zoned the chairmanship and has basically swapped all the southern positions to the north. What's your view on that?
It's a party decision, and I'm a party man, and I will stand by my party.
Is it the right thing?
We are going to be briefed. We'll discuss it, and after the discussion, if it will come back to us in NEC, we will see the reasons why the committee has come to that. So I would not want to preempt the work that the committee has done when we have a time that we'll sit as NEC to discuss.
The committee has done its work.
It's a committee that we are the NEC that constituted that committee.
But what's your own personal view?
I'm telling you that
it doesn't take anything away from you. Your personal view does not.
My personal view for
NEC
now
is a group, but you are a person.
I am a NEC person, and it's not good for me to disclose what we NEC are going to say.
You're speaking like a politician. Senator Stephanus Giangi is the Deputy Defense Committee Chair in the Senate, and Honorable Abubakar Ahmed is also a member of the Defense Committee in the House of Representatives. We're trying to speak to the right people, and you have the duty of the oversight, and that's why we're speaking to you. We're looking forward to your action in ensuring that these things are nipped in the bud. And I wish you the very best. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming.
Thank you.
But that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.